Good morning, everybody. If you are in South Africa, good morning. If you are in Australia, good afternoon. And if you are in Adelaide, good wet afternoon, because we just started having a thunder shower. Welcome to Leading Your Business Growth at the Business with Altitude Summit. If you're joining us live, let us know in the comments where you're joining us from. And if you're watching the replay, remember to hashtag replay and tell us in the comments where you're watching us from. We'd love to connect with you. We'd love to chat to you. I have an absolute privilege today to speak to Christo Pretorius, who is a remarkable leadership and growth expert who has overcome numerous obstacles in his life. He has dedicated his career to helping others achieve their full potential. Christo was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm, but instead of letting it set back and define him, he found purpose in serving Christ and helping people grow stronger in their relationship with him. This helped them find their purpose in life. Christo's passion is leading and helping people build the life they want so that it comes full circle. He began by leading his cricket team to victory after victory on the field, and now guides individuals, teams, and business owners to success and fulfillment. Through his unique way of asking questions and driving mindset change, Christo challenges and stretches his clients in every session. This leads to continual business growth, increased revenue, and personal development resulting from growing leadership capability. Welcome, Christo.
Thank you very much, Odette. I really appreciate the time. Thank you for that intro. I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm really excited to have you here. Shall we kick off the conversation with you, just sharing a little bit about your background? I mean, I alluded to some obstacles that you've overcome, but what does that mean? And what is your experience in business growth? How did we get on Christo Pretorius, the growth and leadership expert?
Yeah, so definitely, I think it goes way back, all the way to, like you said, in my early years, leading the team on the cricket field. Now, that was actually something I only discovered, I would say, 6 years ago. I was going through an interesting time in my life, a lot of decisions that you have to make. And I was just sitting there one day and I was just reflecting back over my life. And I realized that I've actually been leading people for many years. It didn't start today, it didn't start at this point in my life. It actually started at the age of 10, 12, leading people on the cricket field. And so a little bit of my background is that, like you said, I was diagnosed with an aneurysm at the age of 21. I had to go for a brain operation, and that completely halted my sporting career. And I thought it was a bad thing, but it wasn't, because in that, like you said, I found Christ and I dedicated my life to Jesus. I started serving in ministry, been involved in ministry for the last 18 years. It's an honor and a privilege to serve at our church, NBCFC. And through that, started leading teams within the church, started growing and developing departments within the local church. And from there on, in 2016, started a coaching business, leadership and executive coaching business, where we help and we grow individuals, we help and we grow teams, and we grow businesses. And the last couple of years, I've seen in the business world, the importance of having strong leadership within your business that will ultimately grow and develop your business. I think it's Greg Rochelle that says, if the leader gets better, everybody gets better. And so that's just a short snapshot of who I am, where I'm coming from, and what we're doing currently.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. It's very exciting. And I love that quote from Craig Rochelle, because it leads very nicely into my next question, which is, why should businesses invest in themselves? I mean, the summit is a 3-day summit. They're out of the office. They're away from their teams. And it's obviously not for free, because it's an experience. Why should people come to a thing and listen to people who know stuff?
Yeah, it's absolutely vital, because, if you're not going to invest in yourself, how can you expect other people to invest in your business? And so it has to start with us. It has to start with us as the business owners, the individual, the leader, to first of all invest in ourselves. It's just a principle that's out there in the universe that we need to apply, and that is that invest in yourself, and then other people will definitely invest in you. Secondly, you're going to meet people. You're going to network with people. You're going to see business in a different setting. You're going to see different business from a different perspective. What I've seen about in these seminars is that definitely your perspective gets challenged, because we work in our offices every day. We work in our environment every day, and we see the same things day after day. You're going to meet people that has the answer to this to the problem that you're facing currently, and it's simply because they bring a different perspective. And as much as I'm excited to be a guest at this summit, I do know that some of the answers that the listeners will receive maybe won't be from me. It will be from somebody that they're going to have a coffee with. They're going to sit next to at the table, because there's a room of possibilities and there is a room of solutions. And that's why it's important to come to these seminars and to invest in yourself and invest in your business.
I love that. A room of possibilities. That is really pretty awesome, because that's exactly what it is. It's a bunch of people who see the world differently and potentially have solved some of the problems that you're currently facing, but struggling with. So on that point, what are some of the challenges that you see small business owners, medium-sized business owners have in the market today from a leadership perspective?
I think there's 5 things that I want to touch on here. It's the technology shift. People are scared of the unfamiliar, things that we're not familiar with. System failures. A lot of small, medium enterprises, entrepreneurs, they've built the business themselves. And so they haven't really left a pathway or a roadmap for the rest of the people to follow. Yes. And because they don't have systems in place, their business can't scale. Customer disconnect. The landscape have changed over the last couple of years, and I really seen this is that there's a disconnect with the customers that they have and the new customers that they want to get. And it really comes to this aspect. We got to rebrand, and it's how you position yourself and your business to attract these new clients. And then lastly, the leadership lack. Everything, John Maxwell says it so nicely, everything rises and falls on leadership. People want to have a big company before they are big on the inside. When I speak to business owners, everybody wants to be the next Apple. Everybody wants to be the next Amazon. Everybody wants to be the next, social media platform with developing apps. But when you look at those companies, so they never set out to become the next Apple or the next app. They simply focused on the customer experience.
Love it. Preach it.
So what we see is that when and it's boiling down to the leader, is that the leader wants to be like Jeff Bezos. The leader wants to be like Elon Musk. And it's great and wonderful to look up to people. But those people, once again, Elon Musk never set out to be Elon or to be what he is today. He simply had a passion and a desire, and he focused on those things. He grew himself. He developed himself. And because of that, he started to expand, and his business started to grow into what it is today. So yes, Apple and Tesla and Amazon, and all these companies has always been in those individuals. But you have to become big first before the company is going to manifest in that aspect. So these 5 areas, the technology shift and, system failures, customer disconnect, rebranding and leadership lack, I really believe is key aspects that needs to be addressed in this time for business owners.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I happen to agree, obviously, especially about the customer experience, but more so about the fact that you don't start a business because you want to be Jeff Bezos. You start a business because you want to solve a problem. And when we solve problems for our customers, we earn the right to have them rave about us. We earn their trust for them to give their money to us. And that's really actually what it's about. It's not about the fame and fortune that sits behind that, because then maybe you should go to Hollywood, I think.
No, definitely. I'll quickly share the story. My wife is very in a professional setting in the corporate world. She's a chartered accountant, and one of the partners in their firm, their daughter is, I think, 7 or 8, And so the one day he asked his daughter, like it was like 3 years ago, what do you want to become when you grow up, you know? And he was thinking like a doctor or a lawyer or, you know, some high profession, because I mean he's also high professional. And she said, I want to be a YouTuber. And he said, I mean, you need to understand the setting. I mean, this is one of the biggest audit firms in the world, and I mean he's one of the partners there, and like his daughter wants to be a YouTuber. But it shows you where the business landscape has moved towards. But also, I think some of the negative things that I've seen is that people want to be influencers. But you first need to have influence before you can influence people. And it's
Come on
almost
now.
like you have the horse before the cart.
Yes.
When people start businesses, we don't, like you said correctly, is we don't focus on first solving a problem and meeting the need for the customer. We're thinking about what this thing is going to do for us. And I think if you do it that way, that's why, I mean, I heard yesterday, I think it was Mel Robbins, she said 50%, no, Kim Kiyosaki. She said 50% of all businesses fail.
Yes.
And the question is, why is that happening? You know, what are the reasons? And we definitely, or from my perspective, I really, and I know you feel the same way, is we want to help these businesses. We want to help these entrepreneurs that you are not one of those statistics, that you are one of those that do
Absolutely.
and do fulfill.
Yes.
But it has to come down to the customer experience that we need to.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a couple of the mistakes that businesses make. Or the first being the fact that they think they're going to start the business and become Jeff Bezos. I also don't think Jeff sleeps a lot. So I mean, just revisit that thought if that was
Yeah.
your dream. But would you mind telling us what, in your view, is the benefit of attending the Business with Altitude Summit? You obviously know it's a jam-packed full 3 days, and we start with strategy. So we clarify all those things, and we work right through branding, technology. We talk about the customer. We talk about leadership. How is that beneficial to anyone who's already got a business? I mean, they've got businesses. They are making money. So surely, they know what they're doing.
Well, if people know what they're doing and business is doing well, then they would not be on your radar. Anybody listening to this definitely needs help. We all need help. We all need to grow. I don't think anybody has arrived at all in business, and so the reason why people need to come and what you're going to learn and why it's going to help you is, like I said earlier, it's about that perspective. It's going to give you just a bigger view of what business is all about. If you want to scale your business, you need to meet with leading expert within your field. You need to meet with other people that have done it before and that can show you that pathway. We all need to grow. I'm going to grow. I'm going to learn in this summit. Definitely. You gotta be a student of life. You gotta be a student of business. If I've seen anything in business, I've seen this, that the successful people in business are the one that continually invest in themselves. I think it is Tony Robbins. He said that the biggest and the best investment you can ever make is in yourself.
That's
So
right.
that's why people have to come, because you have to invest in your business in order to take it to the place, and I mentioned, where it needs to go. Things are changing rapidly. I remember there was a statistic that if any software sits on the shelf in China for like more than 2 or 3 weeks, it's all technology. That's how quick and how
Wow.
rapidly things are being developed. And so business is growing and developing and changing consistently. And we need to get into this room where we will be able to learn the techniques necessary to take the next step and move forward in business.
Absolutely. Janine shared with us yesterday a statistic. She said our daily newspapers today have more information than would have been accumulated by one person in the 1900s over 100
Wow.
years.
Wow.
Like,
No, that's great. That is absolutely.
it's insane, and we have to keep adapting. We have to keep staying on top of things. I mean, we just spoke about it earlier on, the rate of change and implementation of social technology and social platforms and just the sheer amount of information is very easily becoming overwhelming. And then business owners tend to get the shiny object syndrome. You know, ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, we become like goldfish. And we forget that there are actually things that we need to do that are foundational to creating a successful, sustainable business that will be here in 10, 20 years' time and will stand the test of time. But because we don't have those foundations in place and we get distracted, we just never get there.
Absolutely. That's a staggering statistic. Imagine trying to navigate your way through all that information. One of my mentors, is also my pastor. You'll know Dr. Nicky van der Westhuizen, and he says this, and I want to bring it in here, where he says, do you want a travel agent or do you want a tour guide? The difference between the two is a travel agent will sell you the ticket to a destination, but the tour guide has actually been there and he's taking you on that journey. And so what's happening when people come to the summit is you are meeting tour guides that have been there and that they're going to take you on the journey, because you're going to have all this information, like you said, like Janine shared yesterday, all of the information that's out there. Where do you start? Where do you even start? And how do you unpack all of this? Well, you need a tour guide that's going to take you from A to B to reach the top, the summit, to altitude and lift up your life, elevate your life.
Absolutely. So we've obviously spoken about some of the challenges that business owners face, and we've spoken about some of the things that they will learn at the summit. But do you mind sharing with us a couple of insights or tips that you can share with a business leader that is watching, perhaps on the replay or right now, and they're like, yeah, but give me something to work with here. What do we do to make an impact today? What do we do to go and have a different business today after listening to you?
I'd like to answer that in saying 2016, I met an incredible gentleman, Paul Martinelli. He's at the stage, he was the founder and the CEO of the John Maxwell organization and John Maxwell team. And he said this to me. He says, the value is always in the sacrifice. The value is in the sacrifice. And so for those business owners that are listening today and that want to understand, how can I make a change today? It's going to come down to, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to put in and invest in order to bring that change? Change is not just going to happen. Change is not just going to happen. I heard somebody say this many years ago. Change is fun when it's done. But the process of change, it's tough. And there's sacrifices that we need to make. And so I would ask you, as a business owner, if you're watching the replay, is what are those sacrifices that you have to make today that will take your business further? If you can't answer that question, well, we'll see you in May, because we have the answers.
I did mention in the intro that you are really good at asking questions, and this is one of those pointy questions that gets right to it.
Thank you.
Well, look, I don't think I've met anyone who's got quite the questioning ability to get the cogs going in the brain as well as you do. I have not. There's a lot of people who are charismatic, but I have not found anyone with quite that questioning ability. It is really phenomenal. And in my experience, it causes you to think, and that thinking creates change, which is obviously what we want. I also, to your point about, well, why should we be here, or what can we do today? In terms of business, what I always tell my clients is, when you wake up in the morning and you're just not feeling it, some days you wake up, it's raining, it's cold. Maybe the kids were up all night, you just didn't sleep really well. You had a rough night and you just don't feel like giving it your best shot. In those moments, I always tell my clients to do something today that your future self will thank you for. Because
Absolutely.
your future, as you've said just before, is based on the decisions that you've made in the past.
Yep.
That process of change. And in that process, you've got to make the choice that you will be grateful you made in the future.
Absolutely. That is so true, Odette. That is so true. Many people abort their destiny because of today.
Oh, like, yes.
I've done this challenge recently, physical running challenge. And, there were times where I was just feeling like, I don't want to do this. And I've realized that a feeling is just an emotion, and we are in control of our emotions, right? So I'm in control of my feelings. But many
That's right.
people succumb to the feelings. Many people succumb, like you said. They said the kids had a bad day. They had a bad day, and we make a decision based upon how we feel and based upon the circumstances, and not based upon what, like you said, your future destiny and your future person and the potential and the person that you can be, the version of yourself that you can be, will be thankful for. That is so true. That's so powerful.
Absolutely. So, Christo, where can our viewers find you?
They can find me on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Christo Pretorius. Just type Christo Pretorius in, or Christo Pret SA for Instagram. Or they can go to my website, christopretorius.com, www.christopretorius.com. Or this afternoon at 11, you can find me on the golf course.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
In almost 2 years, I'm playing golf for the first
wow.
time in 2 years. So I'm
really, oh my goodness.
Outside. But just here's my mindset is that people are like, oh, it's raining, I'm not going to play. I'm going to be like, hey, we're playing in Scotland. We're playing in at St Andrews, and the weather is just perfect for this time of the year in Scotland. It's all about mindset, I tell you.
That's the thing. Life is all about perspective.
Absolutely.
Well, Christo, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been an absolute pleasure having a chat with you pre-summit, and we look forward to hearing from your leadership session at the Business with Altitude Summit. If you don't have a ticket yet, you will find in the description, all the details. And if you have any questions, you can find Christo on his social media platforms, connect with him. He's a phenomenal leader and often has phenomenal insights that gets posted. So give him a follow on LinkedIn. Until next time, have a great day.